5 points clear. Welcome to South UK's TV. It's finished Crystal Palace 1, Spurs 2, and Tottenham actually are doing bits. They have gone to Selhurst Park knowing they can go 5 points clear, and they did it. They actually did it. But how well did they play? Right? That's not for me to judge. That's for you guys in the chat and for my guests to tell me how good we play tonight. Or was it not that good? But let's see. Let's bring them out. First of all, I want to give a good old welcome to a fan's favorite. TJ, you good?
Well gone, people. I'm good, man. I'm back,
TJ,
man. Ooh,
TJ from Spurs Talk, so people know. Yeah. You got JJ, Justin, you well?
Ooh, yeah, boy. Fucking 2, right? Come on. Woo, 5 points. Get it.
And there he is. Better late than never. Mr. Spurs. Orion, how are you doing?
Good.
Good.
It's actually good to come on a stream where everyone's happy. Everyone's happy.
You know what? The worst thing about it right now, right? The worst thing about the Premier League right now, and apart from in the Spurs fan base, nobody likes to see a happy Spurs fan, and there's too many of us happy at the moment. It's the reason why nobody wants us to do well, right? Because seeing a happy Spurs fan who's not frustrated is just like everyone's like, "What the hell's going on?" It's a guarantee. But let's get into it, right? So, 2 changes from Monday. 2, right? So obviously Basuma came in, which we all expected, and Ben Davies obviously came in at left back for the injured Udogie, right? When you guys saw the lineup, were you happy? Was you thinking, you know what? It's Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace got major injuries. We should get through this quite easily. TJ, you frozen?
I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm just deeping. I'm just deeping. Wow. You know what?
But yeah, starting lineup.
You know what? Because big up the chat again. Thank you for having me on again. I hope Ndogie is not injured for a long time, you know, because he's such a pivotal player for Tottenham, and the way we push forward and how we invert our fullbacks, the quality is just not there. And I'm not confident that either Ben Davies or even Emerson Royale can do them roles, you know. So again, they have to get put in. The lineup was lineup. Look, let's be honest with you. I'm just glad that we won because we're 5 points. Who would have thought, let's be honest with you, who would have thought Tottenham would be first place, 5 points clear from the season we just had last year? You have to give props to Postecoglou, man. This guy is doing magical things. And you know what? I spoke off stream. The mentality has changed. The mentality has changed. Who knows, man? Who knows? I'm just, you know what? I hope Udogie comes back to for the Chelsea game. I was a bit surprised that he didn't go with Højbjerg, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
I felt like he deserved a start. I don't think he's a big problem like a lot of Spurs fans are saying. I think he's a professional. He has the quality. Yeah, maybe the technical style that Basuma offers is not. You can't really compare both of the players. They're 2 different players. You know, Højbjerg is all about the defense and doing the gritty and the grindy work. Basuma is more about creating and obviously weaving in and out of clear-cut spaces and creating chances for Tottenham to actually push forward. So they're 2 different players. Their styles are totally different. We won. That's all I can say. We won.
Justin, your thoughts on the lineup when you saw it? Did you when you saw it? I'm more in the sense of, did you see it and go, Palace? This should get us through Palace.
Well, to be honest, I would have thought it anyway, because obviously when you take Eze and Elise out of that team, then you know
it was frightening how bad they were going forward.
Why does only TJ get Nando's?
Listen, we have a bet, man. He still owes me Nando's for the Darwin Núñez.
Oh, I think we should all get Nando's. To be fair, if we win the league, we were all getting Nando's in that case. But when I looked at it, I did sit there and I thought, yeah, it should be good enough for Palace. I do think what it did highlight was particularly with Ben Davies, is that ultimately there are certain areas, and I know we'll probably come on to later on, where January will be key. And that was really one. It wasn't one of the best ones. They knew, you could see that Palace had worked on it. That was where they were attacking. And I think, to be fair, I don't necessarily have a problem with Emerson Royal as a backup. I think he does an okay job, but obviously he's more of a backup for Porro, which I never thought I'd hear myself say. But I just think we do need somebody more recognised in that role. I do agree with what TJ said about Højbjerg. I felt a bit harsh for him, but the problem is that as much as Højbjerg didn't do a bad job against Fulham, it's not his natural position. As TJ rightly said, he does more what Sarr does. He does the whole dirty work, the sort of getting in and sort of mopping up and then giving it to somebody else to do it. And I think it was, when we really see it, and obviously I know that we're going to talk about it, but as I say, Bentancur coming back in was vital, and hopefully he can get more and more minutes under his belt. And then, to be fair, we'll see. But in terms of that starting lineup, apart from those two, I wasn't really sort of surprised. I thought maybe Johnson might have started, and I think, to be fair, probably against Chelsea, he will start. I think, to be honest,
he has to. Sorry, he has to.
We
need to ship Richarlison out. He has to.
We'll get onto that. There's
a
couple questions that I want to ask, and I want to get your opinions on it. But yeah, go on, Ori. What did you go make it the starting lineup?
Yeah, well, I think it was expected because Ndogi he picked up a knock, and I think that was I think he's fit. I think it was just that he's just going to get rested. So I think like that was a good move, and it's Ben Davies and expect Ben Davies. But what I liked was that Basami came back as well, so that was to be expected. But yeah, it was a lineup that should have beaten Crystal Palace. But again, it's a squad game, and like it's good to see that the likes of Pierre can be used, or Davies can be used, or Emerson could come on, and that's what I think that's been missing from the Spurs squad before, like how players can come in and want to play and impress. The fact that a lot of people are saying that Pierre should have maybe started, and like what we learned is that with the likes of Pierre, maybe he would be best suited for a Crystal Palace type team, because he's more disciplined, whereas Basama likes to break the lines, and he almost lost the ball a couple of times. So I think like Basama he's good against teams who press, whereas teams who sit back, he doesn't know what to do. But yeah, I expect the team to like get the win. And it's always, like I said, it's always interesting. It's a lineup, and as long as it's good to see how the team will play, and that's the main thing. Will they find a way? And that's all that matters.
Alex, welcome. Starting lineup. That's where we're starting. Just on the starting lineup, you saw Ben Davies come in, and you saw Bissouma come back. What was you expecting when you saw that lineup? Was you expecting to still the game to be won with that starting lineup?
I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, I'm not going to be hypocrite. I'm sorry. I mean, Davis shouldn't be nowhere near this side at the moment, and I think it's just proving it right now. You know what I mean? Because we all said that he's bang average. I was going through hoots when I saw him coming on against Liverpool when we were playing 9 men. I saw Ashley Phillips on the bench, and he's the future. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I don't think he should be nowhere near this side,
but
as far as I'm concerned, and that's it.
But Ashley Phillips is not a left back.
Yeah, well, regardless whether or not a left back is Marlon as well. But let's remember what we said before. Yeah, we were criticising this guy that said that he's the slowest guy going. He's got, he's only got 2 left feet or something like that, and that's it. And now we're saying that he's the saviour. I mean, honestly, you can't really make it up, can you? Really?
Nobody's saying he's the saviour, are they?
Well, that's the top of fan base.
You're going into my next question anyway, right? And I was going to ask,
just on the lineup, just to say what I was saying. Yeah, well, it's obvious that Højbjerg is going to come out of the team because, look, I mean, again, Tottenham fans going over the top again about this guy. He does a job. He does a job.
Alex, the reason the question is, and I'm going to get onto the Bissouma situation as well next. The reason why people were expecting him not to start today, right, was because if he picks up the yellow card, which he didn't, right? But if he picked up a yellow card today, he was going to be suspended for Chelsea, right? And I'm going to be openly and honest and say you could blatantly tell by the way Bissouma played on that pitch today that he was expecting that yellow card. So he didn't play. He hasn't played how he's played for the last few weeks. He was playing within himself because he couldn't play aggressive enough tonight. because he knew straight away he'd pick up a yellow.
Well,
You must agree with that.
well, yeah, what, bro? We were boring. Let's be honest. Let's
We
be
were,
honest.
and that's what, and that's where we're getting into that first half.
Marlon, sorry to go a little bit further forward, but we were boring. We were
But we
boring.
were. But
Like,
this is,
if Palace
you
had a
just,
striker,
But-
yeah,
been
and
fine.
I'm going to go on to as well. The newest man that everyone loves to death now, is saying he's the best thing since sliced bread, Van der Ven. Yeah, let's talk about Van der Ven. Yeah,
he was
Van der
good.
Ven. Let's just say this. Let's just be
He-
honest here
he
right
cov-
now.
he covered.
If he doesn't have pace,
Yeah.
his pace is saving him 110%.
But it's
Yeah,
going to. That's his
MO. Whenever he
Come
makes a
on.
mistake,
That's
his
No.
pace is saving him
But that's his
every
game.
single time.
Alex, that's his game. You
I
can't,
know, well,
that'd be-
I know.
that'd be like sitting there saying,
But
Okay,
this
no,
is the point.
but one thing I would say about
Listen. The show's only early. The only show is only early. Yeah, so I don't want to ruin your show, bruv, because I just come in with a grenade, just pipe bomb, boom. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that.
You're not speaking
But
any
wait,
sense.
But wait,
Go on,
Alex,
TJ,
can I
go on,
ask you
TJ.
something?
Alex, let TJ
Can
talk.
I ask you something on Van der Ven? Yeah, his pace does save him, but pairing him with Romero, it's kind of stabilized Romero.
Yeah,
So-
you must see that, Alex.
So,
Huh?
as much as his pace saves him, I totally agree with what you're saying. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
I'm on board, but we're seeing our back line perform. So he's doing, because if Dyer was in the back line instead of Romero, we would have problems.
I think for me at the moment, I can't work out this Premier League at the moment.
Why? Because we're top.
I can't work it out.
It's
I
surprising
cannot
you.
work it out. It gets to a point where you're sitting there thinking, and we've had conversations before as well on streams, and I think this leads to what I said before. It is a bang average league, but because it's more to do with saying this.
Hold on, Alex. It's a bang average league with the European champions in it.
Well, yeah, because no, I say this. You don't need top players to actually win a league now. I think you need a certain type. I think you need a number of players, right?
Of
No,
course you do. But you
hear
need a
me
team,
out.
Alex.
Hear me out.
Go on, Alex.
Yeah.
Go on.
Right.
Before I go to Justin. Justin, you
Well,
go next.
You need
Talk
a
about
certain
Davis.
amount of players, right? Obviously, to work hard, yeah, in your team, to work as a team, yeah. You need a system. That's two things, yeah. You need a manager that the players believe in, yeah, and tactics. Those are 4 ingredients to winning the league now, yeah. In
So how come
2023.
Brighton hasn't won the league?
Pardon?
How come Brighton hasn't won the league?
Well, that's a question that I still can't figure it out. You know what I mean? But for me, if you've got those 4 ingredients, it's
How come
a
Brentford
shock
hasn't
to
won the
me.
league?
Pardon?
Brentford hasn't won the league. They're a well-drilled team.
Well,
They have
I
no
think if they had the little bit of a push, you know, I think they would have done it. But it's just for me at the moment, and people might not understand it, but I think for me things have completely changed in football right now. And I think you look at Italian league right now and see what Napoli have done, right, with their players, right. I think it just sums it up that you see the belief in our Tottenham team at the moment, right? Now it's too soon to start making those conclusions right now. I've got to say this. You got to make these conclusions in March. But the thing is, though, I really do believe this, that when you've got a team that believe in a system, you've got a team that believe in the well drilled. Also, the fact that the players are playing to a system that not a lot of teams can really combat to, and that's it. And the manager's got tactical nous, even though I still need to be given by Ange at the moment, right? You can see that there is a chance there, and it's a shocking thing to me at the moment, because for me, I don't think we should be anywhere near this league. Absolutely nowhere near. And I'm sorry.
Look,
Justin,
you know
that's
what I
one
mean?
thing. No.
Justin,
That's one thing I agree with Alex. You know, like we shouldn't be first. From last year, the way Tottenham played to this year, we shouldn't be.
Yeah, no,
I agree with
do
him.
agree- I do agree with that.
Here, let me just put it in here. Marlon, you can vouch. Justin, you can vouch. In the midst of all the Conti drama and all the things that's said, who was the one guy who was always saying all Spurs need is a manager who can come in, put faith in the players, and play a system that the player suits.
Yeah,
One
but
guy.
also he did spend a lot of money to do that
Yes,
as well.
yes, he did. But if you look at the players he bought, Van de Ven,
Yeah,
that's not Bastoni.
no,
Bastoni
but to your argument, I get what you're saying, but the argument is based on the fact of that he got in a decent player. Yes, he's not Bastoni, but don't forget, Postecoglou wanted Van de Ven. He got Van de Ven.
Yes, but he wanted Van de
Conte
Ven.
wanted Bastoni. He got Long.
Yes, but
and
so
here's the thing. Though. Here's the thing.
Porro came in too late.
The reason why, what I'm trying to say, because you go back to Conte and him being back. So I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, Angie went in and he didn't go, I want a player who's going to cost 80 million. I want a player who's going to cost a price that we can afford and that we can get them in and not have to hustle and haggle with another team. Look at the goalkeeper. No one who did he want? Like, look at the Chelsea, Arsenal. Perfect.
He wanted Rayo.
2 goals Spurs fans want, both made errors. So what I'm saying is Angie went in and brought in players who want to play for the club, who don't think they're bigger than the club or as a stepping stone. And that's the difference. And that's all that was needed. Angie has even said.
Can I just touch on something? In terms of the goalkeeper, look, if we was to get Rayo, do you think he's going to be would have made as much as he's making a lot of mistakes at Arsenal? If Rayo was in our side, do you think he would do good?
I think that's a very good point, to be honest with you, because I think the goalkeepers are also very, very crucial in this as well, to be honest with you as well, because I was there. I've been at every single home game so far, and this guy, like, that save against Fulham, that save on 12 minutes, I've said it on my channel, Mr. Box Office TV. And by the way, I'm going to say something on this right now on my channel as well, Mr. Box Office TV. If you don't know, get to know. You know what I mean? Because Mr. Box Office, when he talks, people listen, like they say. The point is, right, is that, that goalkeeper Vicario, right, that goalkeeper Vicario, there is something about him. Yeah, he needs consistency. Yeah, it's got to be 2-3 seasons. Yeah, not this one season wonder and then then he does. No. When you're a world class, if you're a world class player, you do it every single season. Not like Rashford does one season and then disappears one season, then you don't see him, and then another season that's it. No, that doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? That's just flip flop. You know what I mean? So so this is the thing. It's like he is starting to make noises. You know what I mean? Because that save, that in that first half was a good save. You know what I mean?
Brilliant save.
It was a good save. Yeah, and he's got something about him. That save against Fulham in that minute when Paulinho made that header was a very good save.
Hold on. But you're talking about Fulham, but actually let's talk about Crystal Palace and the save he made within the first 5 minutes. And I'm going to bring Justin here quickly because he hasn't said anything for a bit, and I need to give him some airtime. But Justin, Ben Davis, so we've used Mickey Van de Ven here. He's got too much pace, but let's be honest, he covered Ben Davis, right? And Vicario making them early saves. How important is this team for the team going forward?
Well, I think obviously if you look at what we had last year with Hugo at the back, where we were getting mistakes after mistake after mistake, and people were losing faith. People were not, sort of comfortable with him and things like that. And it was, I'll put my hands up. I was very, very skeptical when he came through the door, because I've seen this before with Tottenham, where it's like, well, that's just a cheaper alternative. Let's get him in, because we didn't want to put the money down for David Raya. But it's obviously, ironically enough, that we've got the better option, and we could have actually got David Raya for about £3 million from the sounds of it. So, but I think it was such an important decision. And one thing I think maybe we are moving into the territory of which they released after they signed him, which was the data that they had been looking at. And to be fair, I think hopefully what we're seeing now is them actually looking at, rather than buying players to try and appease a manager, so rather than turning around and saying, well, you wanted Bastoni, but we'll get you somebody else that's like him, or so on and so forth. What they're actually looking at is, right, based on the type of football you want to play and the type of style you want to look at, this person suits that style. And interestingly enough, it was Andrew, I think, signed off on getting him as well. But as we've seen, if you look at teams that have won the league, they've started from the back and they've built upwards. They've had solid foundations, and You know, when you look at our team under Pochettino, we had solid foundations. You know, we had the likes of Vertonghen and Alderweireld there, and then we had Rose and Walker, and you know, and obviously he was in his Pomplaries at that time. You know, and hopefully now what we're starting to see, and it is early stages. You know, anybody who's getting away with it thinking we're going to win this league is absolutely off their rocker, because you know we know full well when we look at when we look at the you know what others have got and what others can do, you know it's obviously going to be a tough season. But if we can use this as a springboard to actually propel ourselves into the right position, then what it will mean is that players like Vicario, like Van de Ven, won't look at this as a gamble. You know, we won't be looking at the pool of players at the lower levels and hoping that you know, we can take a diamond out of the rough here. We'll be looking at players, you know, the likes of when City went and got Alvarez, when City went and got Doku. You know, they spent the big money, but then they got the star players at cheaper prices. And that is the part when you look at it, for people will look at Vicario and think, actually, Tottenham's a club I can come to and I can show what I can do on the biggest stage, on the best stage. So it was a bold move by Tottenham. It was a bold move by Vicario, but it seems to be working. And the unity, particularly at the back, has just been transformed. I mean, what is it? I think we've conceded barely any. You know, it was the first goal we conceded in God knows how many games. So it just shows the importance that having, you know, trust across that front four. And it really does highlight when you have players like Ben Davies that actually it shines a beacon on them. You know, it doesn't just a case of turn around and go, oh, well, it's okay. You know, he'll help us out and things like. No, actually, that's the weak one. That's the one that we need to replace. And hopefully, that's the mentality we'll get to. The likes of Liverpool have, the like the City have. You know, where actually you're not good enough, out the door, end of.
All right. So, question. Let's go into the second half now, right? And Orion, I'll start with you. The substitutions today. Did they make a massive difference to that result? Considering, I think we can all be honest, that first half was poor, very poor from Spurs. Better chances fell to Palace, but we had most of the ball. And as the stats have shown, this was the one game we've had less shots in, less time in the opponent's box, but it's the most possession we've had. So it just seemed like we had a lot of the ball, but did nothing with it. But in that second half, obviously Ben Davies was the first sub, right? And came off Royale, and then Richarlison was the second. We already 1-0 up when Richarlison came off, but just because Brennan Johnson set up that second goal as well. So was it the subs' impact today that made the difference? Or was it a case of it just needed changing up because Ange saw there was a problem and he needed to change it?
The problem was Crystal Palace set back. They didn't press. And it was interesting in the second half because you did see when Spurs went 1-0 up that Vicario would have the ball and he would just hold it. Not and wait for and as soon as the Crystal Palace players were like, didn't know what to do, the fans got on their back, they pressed and Spurs just played through them. So it's really interesting that, you know, a lot of people say, yes, the first half was bad, but Spurs kept the patience because, again, it's that mentality. There's many a times you've seen Spurs start off well, they don't score. We saw it last season. And then they just went backwards. But they kept on playing, found a way to break down Crystal Palace. And yes, when Emerson came on for Davies, that I was thinking Davies is not having a good time here. He's just not. He's getting beaten all the time. And he changed it. So that shows the players, if you're not, he's not going to carry anyone. I think he's only carrying Richarlison because Richarlison is who he is, but it shows that he will cut you. And that was good to see. And then when Johnson came on, you know, he certainly put a statement in for why he should start. So yes, the subs did come on. They did change the game. But I feel the technical change as well because I think Pero did more overlaps. Kuleveski went in and he did more overlaps to stretch to stretch the Crystal Palace team. So yeah, substitutions obviously made a change and the tacticals made a change, but they just kept going. And that's the thing. That's what's impressing me as a Spurs fan. They don't give up. They will keep on going. Even if Spurs had got 1-0 and was an on goal, still.
They carry on. The mentality's changed.
it's not a case of bow the head, drop. And what was really impressive is the individual players. You can see Song, when Madison or someone misplaced a pass, they would just shout at each other, which we've never seen before. And that was really, really good to see. Yeah, and basically they foiled, they did everything, but Spurs kept going. And that's games like that. I remember listening to, I can't remember who it was, but he says, it's great. We want to see Spurs win 5-0, 6-0. We want to see that. But the true mentalities games like Selhurst Park, where a team will sit, where a team will play boring, who will try and get you out of shape, who will try and break you up, try and smash and grab. What you're seeing now is that Spurs aren't going to be broken. And that, I think games like tonight will be better than games where Spurs annihilate teams.
I
Players will learn
equally
more.
agree with you. I think it's a learning curve. Can I go on?
Yeah.
Can I bounce off of you? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a learning curve for most of these Spurs players that are on the pitch. I feel the subs did make a big difference. I was impressed. A lot of Spurs fans might think I'm deluded, but I was actually impressed when Højbjerg came in. I felt like he allowed more of the attacking outlets to go forward. Maybe the gritty and grindy work allows people to move forward. Yeah, right. But I used this example on the last show. I think it was on Haz's channel. We're currently building something. Well, I hope we're building something special, but it's like a puzzle. Right now, we're 9 games in. Sorry, say that again.
A bit like what Alex said. You're building a puzzle here. You put it in a complete separate way.
Yeah. We're 9 games in. 10 games in altogether. Yeah. This is the 10th game. We're 10 games into Postecoglou's new style, his system, new players. They all have to adapt and understand what he's trying to do and where we're going to be in the next 18 months. Let's hope he stays for 3-4 years, but these players are all learning on the job. I felt like Crystal Palace was a perfect team to challenge Tottenham because firstly we were under pressure. First half was really boring. The mindset of these players, props to Postecoglou, because they're still learning how to play attacking football. Because last year, if you compare the football from last year to this year, it's day and night's way better. I'm actually enjoying watching Tottenham. Again, a lot of Spurs fans are jumping on. We're title contenders and this and that. Listen, let's leave that topic aside because put it like this, we shouldn't actually be where we are. Everybody is playing a part and everybody's learning. We're gonna hit a few bumps on the road. I think Chelsea's going to be a really difficult game to obviously showcase how far we have obviously come from playing part of the bus to playing expansive football. But again, props to Postecoglou. This is all I have to say. Props to Postecoglou. He's got it right, in my opinion. And he's made these group of players look half decent, and they're not even world beaters. If you actually compare our squad to the best in the world, and I'm not even just saying Man City, Arsenal. You could say obviously Liverpool, Chelsea's looking like but most of these players, you would never have thought, okay, they would step up. And look, I'm enjoying the moments. You can only enjoy the moments because that's Spurs for you. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Alex, let me bring you in because actually TJ makes a great point. You must be like I know how you feel about the whole situation, but something you said earlier, I think even you're starting to slowly get on board this Ange train.
No.
You are because you said earlier because you said right you mentioned you don't understand the Premier League, right?
No.
You did, and
yeah. I think you missed.
But it must mean because Spurs are doing well. In your eyes, Spurs are doing well.
No, I think the thing is, this is where I need to explain it on Mr. Box Office TV because I think people not understanding where I'm coming from. Because let's just be honest here, I'm the first person that said that this guy needs a bad run, and they'll still stick by it. By the way, he needs a bad run of games. He needs adversity. And before anybody says anything, your boy rants with Henry Wright was saying the same thing I said, by the way, and rivals are saying the same thing that Mr. Box Office is saying. So what does that make Mr. Box Office, the master? That's what they need to call it.
Yeah, but okay, but listen.
But
The
point
but the
is,
rivals were saying the same thing about Arsenal last year.
yeah,
They
well,
wouldn't be in a
that's the
title
point.
race,
That's the point. So
and they were.
I must be talking sense. But the thing is, the difference between
But
Tottenham and
none of us
Arsenal at the
were.
moment, the difference between Tottenham and Arsenal at the moment, they went through their bad spell, bro. They went through their bad spell, yeah, because
And
there
that's
were
when they
people
lost
that
the
were
title.
saying
Yeah.
Arsenal,
Yeah, but they went through last
Arteta
season.
should be out the door before that season.
But we're talking about last season, right? Last season, we all of us on this, every Spurs fan was saying, right, and every fan outside was saying, Arsenal were going to falter. Arsenal were going to falter. Arsenal were going to falter. It was only to when they played Southampton towards the end of April and May, because we all started to get worried. All Spurs fans started to get worried and go, "Oh crap!"
I was stressed. I was stressed, man.
Right?
That's the point. That's the point I'm making, Marlon. That is the point I'm making.
Yeah, but
Arsenal should have not been anywhere near that Premier League last season.
But they were.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
they were, because the reason why they were is
They
because they
played the-
believed in the system,
and
right?
they played the
They
best
had
football.
a team that everyone believed in. Yeah,
Okay.
Arteta had sometimes some good tactical decisions.
Okay,
right?
so you've mentioned two things going on with Spurs this year, so that's two
So
things.
that's
yeah?
what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. I am not trying to say that Tottenham Hotspur should be in a title race. And by the way, this theory I'm making can be for every other Premier League club. By the way.
Okay, but Alex, we're not forget
In
the
the top
title
10.
race. Forget the title race.
But that's what I'm trying to say at the moment. That's what I'm making
Forget the title race for the moment, right? Because actually, if I'm being completely honest, right, not one Spurs fan deep down, right, believes we're going to win this league.
No,
right?
no. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just giving you a theory of what I'm saying at the moment.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say.
but
Yeah, go on,
you must believe at the moment, right? Because let's be honest, you must have predicted us to fall outside the top 4, top 5 spaces. But what you're seeing right now, do you think we could finish in those spaces?
No.
Why not?
No, because we haven't had a bad run yet. We don't know what. It's too early. Way too early.
But everyone's going to have a bad run. Everyone's going to have a bad run. Liverpool still need a bad run. Arsenal still need a bad run. Man City have probably had their bad run, if we're being honest, right? But everyone else around us still has to have a bad run. So we're not the only ones.
The thing is, though, we just started with this manager. He's only been here 5 minutes.
And look what he's done already.
And for every game that we're winning is for every game that could be when we do have a bad run. It could be bad. You get what I'm saying? There could be a falter. You know, it might be a big fall. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just think at the moment,
Alex, it's all ifs and buts, though, is it not?
Because, well, yeah, but I'm not stupid, because I've been down this road so many times. Marlon, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's like me saying that you know, I'm going to a club. You know what I mean? I know what's going to happen every single time. So, nightclub, you know what I mean?
Alex, you can win the lottery, and you'll probably worry about how you're going to spend it.
I know, Oyon. I know you're my boy, yeah. I know you're my boy, because I always appreciate you, yeah. I always appreciate.
We love you, Alex. We love you.
I always appreciate you, yeah.
I'm not going to do a Marlon and try and convince you, because I understand where you're coming from. Like, you don't want to have that hope just to be let down again.
Yeah.
But like I was thinking, I've always been positive about Spurs. So far this season, Spurs have answered every single question. Who was going to grab the goals now? Harry Kane's gone. Spurs are the joint top goal scorers in the Premiership. Their defense is going to leak goals. Spurs have one of the best defenses in the league. They're going to struggle against Arsenal. Got a draw. They got to win against Liverpool. Okay, because controversial as it was still a win. What's it going to be like when, teams sit deep? The answer to the question. So I'm not saying that Spurs are going to win the league. Not saying that.
But to be one second, there's only one question, literally, right?
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going to actually probably agree with that. There's only one question that Spurs probably will need to answer is how are we going to deal with our first defeat or a couple of defeats in a row? So that's the only question left, isn't it?
Mm. And that's the thing with Angie's mentality. A draw is a defeat. That's how they deal with it.
To be fair, though, I just wanted to sort of. I don't think it's going to be just that his biggest hurdle, because if you look at most of the team that he's had, let's be honest, most of them played every single minute.
Yeah,
We've not had. We've not had a point where Van der Ven hasn't played or Romero hasn't played, you know, where Maddison's been injured or Son's been injured. You know, that is, I think, where the ultimate test is going to come down to.
It's a bit like
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm still sitting there and almost praying to anybody just to get through to January, so that the club realise, actually, if you are serious about what we could achieve, You need to go out and be serious about getting the likes of Tapsoba or getting the likes of, you know, somebody else that can do the job of Maddison if he's injured or things like that. So we've got a squad. If you want to be serious like Man City or Liverpool or things like that, you have to have the squad and you've got to spend the money.
But Justin, just quickly on that, because you say about injuries, injuries might not happen because if let's take the team that came second. I don't like mentioning them, but there's too many similarities to Arsenal last year. What's happening right now with us, and we always said they were one injury away, and then it happened to be Saliba got injured, and that's when it all went. But let's be honest, they had their whole team up until I think only Thomas Partey really got injured in between that time, up until when Saliba got injured, and then it came crashing down. So if Spurs, because there's one game a week for us at the moment, so we haven't got the Europa League stuff. So the injury stuff, you kind of have to take with a pinch of salt, right? So it might not happen. And if it doesn't, let's take Leicester, the year they won the league. They didn't have any injuries. They literally could play the same team every single week. So you can't. So if Spurs can sit there, like I'm going to say to all of you, if Spurs can keep this starting lineup playing every week to the end of the season, would there be any reason why we can't be in the title race at least?
I think you can certainly be in the conversation, but ultimately we've got to look at the fact of, you know, if you look at, let's take for example Richarlison, does he get in any of the other teams that are vying for the title?
Hold on. Does Richarlison even get in most teams that are in fighting for like the top 10?
Exactly.
Does he even get into the top 14, 15 teams?
No,
I don't think so, man.
Why are we talking about the below average Emerald Heskey here, by the way, aka Richarlison? Why are we talking about him for? Like, we all know he's below average. Well, actually, Savage is describing really better. The above average, a below average Andy Boove. Yeah. That's a better description.
And you know another person, I just want to add someone.
Will be his replacement, hopefully.
Another person that it's really concerning me, and I didn't think it would be Kulusevski, man.
So
don't get me started on him.
I've got a good question for you lot, right? So this question was asked about me on Tuesday, right? And I thought it was actually quite a very decent question, right? But after seeing Brennan Johnson today, it kind of has changed my mind. And the question was asked, right, about the forward line. It's obviously not clicking. I think we can all agree on that right now. Kulusevski, Son, and whoever the left, it could be Richarlison. Brennan Johnson's shown tonight that he might be able to do something, but let's just take him out of the equation. And the question was, right, what if it came to January, what position would I want to improve the most, right? And I said, look, if I'm being honest, if I'm looking towards the future, right, Kulusevski, Ange loves Kulusevski, right? He loves him, but he's just not clicking with Son or Richarlison or Solomon, whoever's been on that side, right? So do you get rid of Son? Do you try and replace Son and the left winger in next year? Or do you get two wingers that can play well with Son for the next, year and a bit? Because Son's not going to be here for long.
I've stood by this I think I've been the only fan that has said this. We need to start thinking about replacing Son. However, the priority is not a striker right now. It's a centre back and a attacking midfielder, winger / whatever you want to call it. Someone that can play in the middle, that can cover Maddison, but also play on the wing. Obviously, we are linked to Jota. I know a lot of people are turning a blind eye at that signing, but we can just base the template of he's used him at Celtic. He knows the style that he wants, that Ange wants. I think it's a perfect person to bring in. I'm struggling to see Kulusevski perform in this Tottenham team.
So I'm just going to answer that. I'm just going to add a little caveat to all that, right? So in the top 10 of chances created in the Premier League, Kulusevski is sitting 7th on that list. Maddison was 2nd. So what's going, Justin?
No, I was just to be fair, I think the issue that we've got at the moment, and this is where I do understand where TJ's coming around with the idea of Jota. I think actually that wouldn't be a bad shout, but it depends obviously who comes available. I think the problem though is when you look at where Tottenham are at the moment, if you were to break it down into who would you rather have in the team, Kulusevski or Richarlison, I'd have Richarlison every day of the week and twice on Sundays, because I just feel that there's more of a confidence in the role he has to do, you know. And I'd rather, regardless of whether it be, you know, Johnson and Kulusevski done differently, whatever, the fact of it being is, if we're based on the players that we've got, for me, the front three would have to be Johnson, Son, and Kulusevski. Where I do think that we need to start looking at is come January, that sense of how serious are we? Because absolutely, you know, Richarlison, I just don't see working. It's such a shame because you can see that he wants it to work, but it just doesn't seem it's going to. But we do need to be looking at, well, okay, we need to start putting it to Kulusevski. You know, you need to have pressure put on you. You're not, you know, this isn't gonna, you're not going to just keep getting into the team because there's nobody else better than you. We're going to bring somebody in who is as good as you, or if not better, and you need to prove that you are the main man. You know, I think the Son one, yes, I do think we need somebody there because I just don't feel that Valise has had enough experience, and ultimately, I think he needs a loan in, you know, another like a championship club or something like that to prove what he's going to be able to do. But January, as much as we say it, and I've seen some of the names linked in the chat, and to be fair, I think some of them are a fairly good shout. We do need people that actually are going to make the first 11 realize you're not just in by name alone, you're in there because you deserve to be in there. You look at last year in particular, some of those names were just turning up because they knew there was nothing on the bench. You know, we were putting kids on. Eric Dyer was just like, I'm going to get a game, it doesn't matter. David Sanchez, I'll get a game, it doesn't matter. Now it's a case of, you're not going to get a game. You know, you will not get a game. And at the moment, that is something that needs to be built on in January. The likes of Kulusevski needs to either step up or step aside because there is somebody better than him. Because at the moment, in terms of somebody to come off the bench, there isn't. And that's the worry at this point.
All right. Before I go with the Benton core question at the end, I just want to get everyone's opinion now. Obviously, Palace is out of the way. The next game is Chelsea. I'm going to start with you, Oren. Where do you think... actually, not even where do you think. How do you think we will go against Chelsea? Do you think we will get a result? It's at our place.
Yeah, that's going to be...
Yeah, Pochettino return.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. The way Chelsea are playing and the keeper... Like, yeah, it's going to be fun. I think Spurs are going to turn up, play attacking football. And I just think as well, like, how Spurs are playing and how Spurs are going to have a Newcastle moment, you know, like where it's 6-1 or something. It's there. It's coming. It's on its way. And like, just referring to...
Let's say we're going to beat Chelsea 6-1. Is that what you're saying?
No, not Chelsea. I'm just...
I'll take that bet with you, Owen, because I don't think we will.
Bro, I thought you were smoking something. Sorry, man. When you said 6-1 against Chelsea, I turned off. My brain turned off.
No, I get what you mean. You mean.
I'm saying Spurs, the thing is, because like listening to you guys is interesting, Spurs haven't hit their level yet. They haven't hit the peak. And the way the game ended, because, you know, just to like conclude everything that I listened to, the way the game ended, you had Gill on the left, who's a natural left-footed player, Johnson on the right, who's a natural right-footed player. That's what Angie wants. So it wouldn't surprise me if over time Kulusevski actually starts on the left. So because the only problem with Kulusevski is that he has to cut back in. He has everything else. So I feel he's been used there for the moment because that's where he's played. So instead of Angie going right, you're going to go on the left and have to relearn everything. You're going to play in the system, learn how we play, then safely move him to the left. And I do think that it will be him and Gill and Johnson and whoever else. And I mean, as for Richarlison is going to be back up for Son. That's the cover. And I think, like, with the need for transfers, yes, it's all great to want to bring players in, but you're disrupting those players. Look at Chelsea. Chelsea bring players in after players in after players in. It's hard to get that dynamic going. It's hard to get that. Yes, you want to bring players in who will sit, and hope for an injury. Again, if you're going for a player who's getting a regular game for his club and you go, right, come to Spurs and, you're not going to play all the time. It's just in case our main guy gets injured. That player's not going to be bursting to want to come to Spurs. He's just not. And so therefore, it's what I've been impressed by with the transfer so far in Angie, he knows that, and he goes, right, I can work with the players that I have, give them opportunity, and then we'll, instead of just, no, you're not good enough. No, you're not good enough. Eric Dyer and Lloris, they're not in the team because they're the past. He wants to start with the future. That's it. And so, like, what I'm saying is about against Chelsea, I think the players have belief, and they're going to have a match eventually where they're just turn up the heat, because Newcastle didn't get recognition until they thumped Spurs. Let's be honest. I was like, oh, Newcastle are going to fail. When they had that moment, that sort of match against a big team, everyone went, oh shit. I'm not saying against Chelsea, but I just have a feeling like if it's Spurs haven't hit their peak yet, and I'm interested to see what happens when all those players hit their peak. That's going to be interesting, because even Alex might have to say, right, okay, I'm on ball here. Even Alex.
Alex, Chelsea. Chelsea, Alex.
Enough.
Yeah, go on. Your opinion on Chelsea next Monday.
I've got no really feelings on that at the moment, because I don't know how to really take Chelsea at the moment. I really don't. I've got to be honest. Just to say something to Orient, it's going to take a long time for me to say I'm an Ange fan, by the way. And you're going to be waiting for a long time, so just have to wait. You're still going to be waiting till next year. But the point is, I don't know what to really feel on this at the moment. I think we're getting lucky. I've got to be honest. I have to be honest. We have got lucky the last couple of games. I think it's coming, this bad run. I have to be honest. I do think it is coming. I think we could get a draw. I think it's going to be a draw, to be honest with you, the Chelsea game. I think teams like Aston Villa, West Ham, and maybe even Brighton, Man City.
You've mentioned all four teams that we've got in a row in December. Well done, Alex.
You've got Man City as well in there as well, because they're going to be obviously tricky. But I mean, some reason we have got a good record against them, haven't we?
Yeah, but we're away, so it's fine.
We kept above average John Carew, aka Haaland, quiet at White Hart Lane Stadium with Dyer and Davis. So you know what I mean. So anything's possible in the Premier League, isn't it? But this is the point. I think to answer your question about the Chelsea game, I think it's going to be more. I think it's going to be a very interesting one. I think it's going to be emotional with certain Tottenham fans, not me anymore. I would say, not because it's on Chelsea.
Hold on. This might be the game where you turn your love off for Poch and come back to Ange and trust everything he's doing, right?
Oh, bloody hell. How many times are people going to try and get me to love Ange? The point is,
this is going to be the game. You're going to see the old love flame, and you're going to be like, no, I'm done with him now.
No, but the thing is, I've moved on. I've moved on. But just to move it on to the question, I think it's just going to be a very interesting game. I think at the end of the day, I think Chelsea have got players there that can hurt us at the back. Mm-hmm. So I think they'll be watching this game today and sitting there thinking, you can still get at this team in the air. Let's be honest, and that's a problem as well. You can get to this team behind. I think Ollie Watkins, a striker can get behind our defence. If you keep Maddison out the game. If you keep Maddison out the game,
have you been watching Van de Ven? Who's he lost in the foot race?
Well, no, but the point is though, I think his pace. I think he does get out of situations just because of his pace.
Kyle Walker.
And one day he will get caught out. He will get caught out.
Get caught out with speed. You cannot get caught out with speed.
Yeah, but Kyle I think his pace is saving him at the moment, Orion. And I'm sorry,
it's not saving him. He's able to recover, so he has the confidence to use it. So
cool, but there's only so many times you can do that, though.
But if he's got the speed, who's got past him? Yeah, who's got past him?
No one's got past him. But my point is, though, Orion, the point I'm making is that it's only so many times this guy is going to be able to get away with it. You get what I'm saying?
He cannot. But it's not like he's making last-ditch tackles. He's using his speed really composed. Like tonight, he chased a guy back and instead of sliding in, he outran him, used his body weight to shield the ball.
No,
He's
I'm
built
not
to-
disagreeing with you there. I'm not disagreeing with you there. But there will be a time.
It's like,
I'm not
how can you
disagreeing
get
with you
caught out
there.
with speed?
But
how
yeah,
can you
but
get
I'm not
he's not-
disagreeing with you there though, OEM. But
Yeah.
he's young. As far as I'm
Right.
concerned, he has got still things that he's got to improve on. And as far as I'm concerned, he will get caught out keeping on doing that. It will come
But
back to
how,
bite him on the
I don't know
backside.
how.
It will.
But how do you get
Well,
caught out with
because the
speed?
striker, listen, managers are scouting him already, bro. Yeah, because he's making noises already. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they're looking at
But
him
how do you
saying,
get caught out with
"How can you
speed? That's
get
the
to this
other-
guy right now?" Oh yeah. So when you get behind him,
When you knock
you
the
got
ball
to try and
past
do
him,
some
like,
funny movements to try and get him, try and get away from him. You see what I'm
but if
saying?
you try and
There
get
are
away
clever
from him,
strikers out there. If you're a clever striker, you
yeah.
can get around that. 110%.
But it's about speed. So the whole process of a football player is to knock the ball into space and beat the defender.
Yeah.
And Xhaka, for example, will try and beat Odigi for speed. Couldn't do it. Van de Ven come over and cover. Speed is a very important weapon in football, even for a striker.
I
who has speed.
100% agree.
When-
100% agree. That's
Alex,
the Premier League.
Alex, 1 second, Alex. When Van de Ven has made the mistake, right? Because he has, right? But you probably
Yeah.
not noticed. Who's been behind him, covering him?
Yeah,
Romero.
Romero.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
but
there you
no,
go.
I'm sorry. No.
And the
We're
other way
doing
around.
it. We're doing it
And the other way
again.
around as well.
We are doing it again with Romero. I'm sorry, we're not doing it again. It's been 9 games. It's been 10 games. It's been 10 games. Sorry,
He's
just to
But
be
we
wonderful.
can
careful
equally
here.
argue, but we go back to my point what I made. We can equally argue Adam Van de Ven in our side has made Romero a much better player.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So this is the point I'm
Which,
making.
look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I agree that he's using his speed, and there's going to be times when a striker gets past him, or not just past him, outsmarts him. Yeah, I agree with that. But we have the building blocks in place to prevent that from happening, in my opinion. Romero has looked solid. He's usually the one that is coming out of the blocks and attacking. Now it's Van de Ven that is doing all the chasing, and Romero looks like a quality centre back. Last year, I was on Haz's show, and I was saying we need to take Romero out, man. You know, he's too aggressive. But you need to understand the building blocks in the defense is all there to support each other. You know, the
And
problems we're gonna have.
do
the
you know what's
problem-
prime example of that? Just to quickly throw into that.
Go for it, bro.
Yeah, go on.
Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen, right? Are a prime example of what happens. When Jan Vertonghen came out of that team, right? Toby Alderweireld was never the same.
Yeah,
And he
great.
started to make mistake after mistake after Jan Vertonghen came out. And he did. Because we were all here, all of us, were all moaning about the mistakes he was making. And then it went on to Lloris as well. Carry on, TJ.
Agreed.
This is the whole point. What TJ is basically trying to say, right? And this is going to Romero and Van de Ven have got a partnership that works. And when it works, it doesn't matter if Van de Ven makes a mistake because who's there? If Romero makes a mistake, who's there? And that's the unity that you need in the defense. You go back to Leicester, right? I'm going to use these two as a prime example. Wes Morgan and Robert Huth, right? Who would have thought that those two could go and win the Premier League? But as a partnership, they're so much stronger. Gallas and John Terry. You need these partnerships to win the league. Gabriel and Saliba. Look how Saliba was at the beginning of the season this year when they took Gabriel out. He wasn't the same. As soon as Gabriel goes straight back next to him, Arsenal fans talk about how world-class Saliba is again. Yeah, it is what it is. And Romero and Van de Ven are pretty much the same, don't you think? That's where, at the moment, them two are complement each other so much that they're becoming a unit, and we're keeping clean sheets with it, with Vicario in between.
The only thing I'm going to add to it, the only problems we are going to face with, obviously, Van de Ven, is what Alex said, his aerial ability. You know, and again, he is young. He's going to develop and this is where I totally agree with Alex. He's young. He's going to learn how to do all of these things. Judge a ball. I don't actually understand how a 6'5" can't win a ball when it's. I don't understand that. To be totally honest with you, I don't understand it. He gets out jumped, but again, he's going to learn. Yeah, again, he's going to learn. You know, all of these things. Look, It's 10 games in. We're still like putting the puzzle together, you know. We're looking at the puzzle pieces. This puzzle goes here. That doesn't fit here. You know, we're still building in this new style that Tottenham's developing. And you know, I just want to say about the defense. Without them two, Romero and Vertonghen, I keep calling him Vertonghen, but without Romero,
part
and
two.
he could even be called Vertonghen. Forget it. Romero and Vertonghen. Where would we be? To be totally honest with you,
Agreed.
Chelsea. My takes on Chelsea. If you don't, I'm a bit different. You know, I think we're gonna lose this game. I think we're gonna face a big reality. You know, but you see, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and I know it's going to raise a couple of eyebrows through a few Spurs fans. But I want to see Højbjerg start instead of Basuma because I need a bit more defense. Yeah, no, a lot of people are going to disagree with that opinion, but for me, Chelsea look dangerous.
They
And
are. They are. And this is the thing. Everyone forgets Chelsea creates so many
Chelsea's got
chances.
players that can kill us. You know, the way Cole Palmer's going about life,
they can't finish. This is Chelsea's biggest problem. Chelsea's biggest problem all season has been they just can't finish. They've taken every team apart. They just can't finish off their dinner. It doesn't matter which games they've lost. They've seen the most possession, the most shots. They just can't put it in the net. So when you say I agree with you, they will probably play. They'll probably play us off. They'll try and they'll have more of the ball than most teams, right? They'll probably try and play us off the park, right? But the only thing is, we give away chances. Chelsea don't finish them. So it's that if Chelsea finish them on the day, they're gonna have a perfect day to do it.
But it's Pochettino magic, man. You're forgetting about that guy, Pochettino. It's
Yeah,
magical, we know.
But
Mauricio Pochettino.
He's not Ange, TJ. Ange is showing us the different way. And showing us that Pochettino's magic is go 2-0 up, and then your team falters. Let's be honest tonight, right? If that was Pochettino and we had 8 minutes left, and then AU scores that goal, dude, Crystal Palace go get a second. And
to be honest, they're probably going to get a third.
Yeah.
So
this is Big Ange magic is different to. But Justin, before we go, what are your thoughts on Chelsea?
To be honest, to coin a phrase that one of you will know, this will be box office. It absolutely will. I think the game has got everything. Ange Ball versus Poch. You know, a team that goes for it against a team that goes for it. I just think it goes completely out the window. I disagree with TJ. I think Basuma has to start. I just think screw it. We go all out for it.
That's the Andy way. Yeah.
Because you look at it, and this is what if you know, everybody knows, right? If you've ditched a bird and you get with another one, you want to show that one is better. So why are you going to turn round when the X comes back and say, "Oh look, I've got something bland. I've got something vanilla. I've got something dull. I've got something that does nothing."
But then equally argue that point. Wait, well, let me just stop you there. But if you've broken up with a bird that you've been with for 5-6 years, and there's a long bird, someone that knows you ins and outs, that can cause you problems as well.
Okay, but then let's put it this way.
Man.
Let's say you fix that bird and you go with dull, boring bird over miserable bird after miserable bird, and then you have this bird who makes everything amazing. You're not going to turn around to your ex and go, "Do you know what? You see this one? Nah." Still,
fair enough. You got a good point, to be honest with you.
Whatever Bell does, you know that you're not going to go. You're not. You're going to turn around and want to smash him to bits. That's what you're going to do. And he's going to go out there and show them he is better. That is what he's going to want to do.
That's what I'm not saying. Like I just have that feeling. It's going to be end to end. Like because Chelsea attacks, Spurs attack, high scoring game. That's what they both want. And if you look at the back line, I watched the Chelsea Arsenal game, and Chelsea, I mean, that goalkeeper, what he was doing, you know what I mean? Arsenal weren't even playing that well. And I'm just thinking, like, even Spurs again, it's fans might be joyous, but deep down they all have that, oh, we're going to lose against Chelsea. Oh, and that's great to see because Angie's like, yeah, let them think that because this Angie ball is we just keep going. Five. If it's and the thing is, listening to like fans now under Conte, they were saying we want attacking football. We don't care if it's like if we lose 6-5. That's what the style Angie's bought, and yet fans are still worried. What if it doesn't work? It's enjoyment. It's let's just go. Let's play Basama. I mean, Chelsea will press. He will bypass them. 1, 2, 3, 4 balls in the back of the net. That's what I'm saying. Spurs haven't clicked yet. They haven't had that game where everything just goes in. They haven't had that game yet. And what better game to have it than against Chelsea?
Against Chelsea.
Whatever the score may
true.
be, it's the Spurs. Every team will have a. Even last season, Arsenal did something. Like Arsenal lost the league because they lost to Man City twice. I was convinced that if they beat Man City one of those times, Arsenal. People say, "Oh, was it December?"
Oh, showed that up as well. I think they've beaten them once.
They lost to Man City twice. That was when they lost the league. That you have to beat the champions.
They did stop believing.
And so therefore, they had their big games. I just think that Spurs still haven't had that big game. I'm not saying it's going to come against Chelsea. I just have a feeling though that Monday Night Football, like Justin was saying, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, let's rip this team apart. You know what I mean?
Go on,
Alex.
Go on.
Go ahead, Alex.
Go on, because you have the last word, Mr. Box Office.
I didn't want to. Sorry if I interrupted you, Orion. I didn't mean to do that. I do agree with you what you're going to say. We haven't popped. We have not popped. Yeah, I've been saying that as well. We've not popped at all. So yeah, that was all I was going to say anyway. Because I think that's it. I think Orion's hit the nail on the head. I think for me. Because I think we are getting lucky in certain performances as well. I have to be honest, but I still stick by my theory, which I will explain on Mr. Box Office TV, that I think the Premier League has changed, the football has changed, and I think it's more to win this Premier League now and being successful. And when people say that, oh well, Brighton have got that sort of thing and they're not doing anything too well, they ain't got a goal scorer. That's the answer to that. Simple as that, really. You know what I mean? Because if they had the goal scorer, I think there'll be more up that league than anybody right now, to be honest with you. So I think I think my theory is right, to be honest with you, because like I said, you're gone.
Yeah, sorry, to your theory, just to Alex Ferguson won the league with Man City or Man United, and many said it was the worst group of players he ever had. And when he was asked how did he do it, he says it's not about superstars, it's about getting a team working hard and disciplined. So that theory that you're talking about has always existed. Leicester won the league not by having world-class players. See, we've already played in the championship.
Exactly.
Hard work and team. So this theory, yes, that's how. Even Pep Guardiola, if he couldn't get those players working hard and playing together as a team, it wouldn't be successful. But everything Klopp's the same.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right now.
Alex is right, though. Alex is right about one thing, right? And you've mentioned, because all the players you've mentioned there, right? And even in Ferguson's worst team, they all had a goal scorer. Vardy was scoring goals. Mahrez was in the end.
Spurs,
I believe the worst Man United team to win it was his last one, but they had Van Persie. So there's always been, if you look at all the teams that have won the league, majority of the time, apart from really City, they've had goal scorers. And if it's not coming from the main striker, it's then come because Aguero was first, and then they there was bits and pieces where they didn't have a striker the last couple of years, but they still had other players that were scoring goals all over the pitch. Where what Alex is basically saying is, if Brighton had a striker, they probably would be up there, and that's all they're missing. If we're all being honest,
that's the thing. And listen, I'm not deluded saying this. I only came up with this theory. I was talking.
And we've got Son, by the way, who's scoring goals.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point I'm making. And it's not even me trying to be deluded, because I'm not going there every side. I'm just looking at it from afar. Because like I said, in the 90s, you had to have some of the best players. You had Arsenal when they had the French contingent, Manchester United when they had you had Andy Cole, Dwight York, Chelsea. That had the teams that they had as well. You know what I mean? And the Arsenal, the unbeatables. You know what I mean? Because they had the team and they had the players as well, and the quality. I don't think you need that anymore because those quality players are 10 a penny now. You know what I mean? Because it's not about individuals anymore. How many? This is a great question on Tottenham Away. Big up to Tottenham Away, by the way, and even Sava as well. Yeah. How many world-class players can you really put name on your hand right now in the Premier League right now and in football right now? How many? Can you tell me?
Rodri
Haaland.
and a fit De Bruyne.
Haaland.
And Haaland.
Rodri and De Bruyne, yeah.
And Haaland.
Haaland's not on that category yet.
Salah.
But
No,
that's
he's
the
not.
thing. What are
He's
you
not.
referring to world class?
Salah
I mean-
has to be included. Sorry, Salah has
But
to be included.
okay, but first of all, that world class
Julian
question.
Alvarez has been sensational in City.
But,
this
So what
but
season.
it's not
is the
world
final-
class though. It's too
Oh,
soon to
yeah.
call.
What does
him
Owen want to
world
say?
class.
What does Owen want to say?
No, what defines as world class? Because
That's the point.
Ramirez won the World Cup. Is he not world class, or is it?
I don't think he's.
So
world
what
class,
defines world class?
If we're being completely honest, there's probably only two.
What defines world class?
Yeah, but there's only probably two in the Premier League. If we're being, and I probably say match top three, right? But even Salah, Salah's questionable, right? And I do agree, Salah's probably questionable. But Rodri is probably the best DM in the world right now, right? We've seen that in the way Man City have performed with the
Hands
games without
down.
him, right? And he went and won them the Champions League, stepped up. And a fit Kevin De Bruyne, right, is world class, and they're probably the two players in the Premier League. But everyone else is probably on a European level. But yeah, when it comes to world class, them two players are probably the only two right now.
But what's world class? What
I
defines
mean,
world class?
I'm sorry, but you saying Edison is not one of the best goalkeepers in the world?
Yeah, that's
No, Edison, he's not better than Alisson though.
Okay, so Alisson in the Premier League, you're saying is better than a world-class Edison. So that makes 4 then, does it?
No,
So
but it's not to say they're world-class goalkeepers. They're very good goalkeepers. But I get the question, right? Because when you're looking at world-class players, right, you're looking. Let's take the Messi and Ronaldo's out of the equation, right? But let's go back.
No, you can't take them out.
Okay,
you would say
if you're looking at them, then there's none. Because they're a level, they're a league level.
But he's got a point. What defines world class? Are we talking about trophies, or are we talking about, I don't know, like
players that can control games, not just in there. So when I define world class, right, they shouldn't be just doing it at club level. They should be in an international level too, right? And I look at someone like Rodri. Rodri does it for Spain and he does it for Man City, and then he's getting everything behind it. He's probably got to do more for Spain, right? If we're just taking it to that next step, right? Kevin De Bruyne is the same for Belgium. Does it week in, week out for Belgium when he was playing, and he does it for Man City, right? But you get someone like, you're right, Haaland's probably not there yet. Maybe he's on the right track.
He's a goal scorer, a world-class goal scorer. But when he doesn't score, what else does he do?
He's pointless.
And then this was a perfect one. Someone said, "Oh, they're so smart." They said, "Oh, his XG was 0." What?
But
You know what I mean? People don't understand what XG is. Do you know what I mean?
But would you put Harry Kane as a world-class player then?
Yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. If
Alex.
we're not basing it off of trophies,
yeah, Alex, because you've just said Haaland there, right? He's only a goal scorer, right? So he's Harry Kane then, a world-class player.
Yes, because 100. Harry Kane he creates as well, so he goes deep as well. But the only thing
that's it. You don't need to say anymore because you weren't saying that last year.
The only thing that he's missing is trophies. That's the thing that will make him world class. Yeah, that will make him to that next level. But the point is, unfortunately, he hasn't done it. But he's a much more better player
Marlon,
overall than
Haaland.
Wait, so Alex, you're basing it off of trophies, right? So trophies is what. So in your statement, Kane is not world class based because he hasn't won anything. Correct. Cool. Whatever.
Rodri's not world class.
What makes
Spain in terms of winning a major international trophy? Neither is Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, look. At the end of the day, to win the Premier League, right? I think this is what's confusing Alex. To win the Premier League, you need a team, right? And right now, that's what Spurs are doing. We can all agree on that. Spurs have got a team, and we're top of the league for a reason. Right,
and we're building in the right places.
And we're building in the right place, and I think everyone can agree that is that right now. Let's be happy. We're top of the league. We're going to be top when we go into that Chelsea. Well, actually, we might not be, but we're going to be top for the rest of the weekend. No one can overtake us. And before I let you all go, Justin, I don't know where people can find you on Twitter now and Instagram with your name. So his name's in his handle. TJ, you can find on this channel. You can find on Spursy Talks.
Has his
and-
channel as well.
Forget has. Mr. Box Office, you all know him. Find Mr. on it's Box Office TV, isn't it? Is it what it is? Yeah,
Box Office TV. Yeah.
And then Oren is Mr. Spurs on Insta and Twitter. Please go give all of them a follow if you haven't already. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back Tuesday with Ashmatic and I probably, and then you'll have the rival show on Wednesday. But Big Ange is steering this train in the right direction. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
5
Spurs.
points, top of the league.